A Quiet Place Day One. Now, I was really excited for this film. I found out that it was a prequel, and I was like, yes, we get to actually find out what actually caused these events. I love Quiet Place, the first one and the second one, and I was really stoked to check this film out. But after watching this film, guys, this film is lazy. As New York City is invaded by alien creatures who hunt by sound, a woman named Sammy fights to survive. The film stars Lupita Nyong'o, Joseph Quinn, Alex Wolff, and Djimon Hounsou, and was directed by Michael Sarnoski, and he's done one other film that I've seen before called Pig. Quiet Place Day One, I was really excited to check out this film. I really loved those first two films, and the fact they were doing a prequel, I was like, yeah, I'm really excited to actually see what they're going to actually do with this film. Now, this film, it starts off with a character named Sam. She's in hospice care. She has a cat named Frodo, and she's really down because she is terminally ill. She has a guy named Ruben, played by Alex Wolff, invite her to this marionette show to check out. While on the way there to go check out the show, you see a bunch of objects falling from the sky, and eventually, as they're watching this show, a bunch of them land on Earth. They're blowing up the city, and before you know it, you have chaos that ensues. You have bridges that are collapsing. You have the power grid that's collapsing. The sound here is really good. I was in Dolby, and you can hear the boom of like the bombs going off, the shootings going on, everything that is really going on. You hear everything that is happening. So the sound here is absolutely exceptional, and I would rank it right up there with Civil War, seeing that earlier this year. Visually, it looks really great as well. You see a lot of the explosions. You see a lot of cool things within the destruction of the city. If you're looking for that apocalyptic setting, you're definitely getting it here, because you definitely see that destruction, fire going everywhere. You see the creatures, which I would say that they're okay the way that they're designed. A lot of this film, it does have a lot of action in it, but at the same time, a lot of that action is within the trailer. But there are some really cool scenes that really stood out to me, like the sewer scene, which was very good, and certain little scenes where they're going through like the building and such like that. I thought that was really cool, which you do see that in the trailer where they're crashing through the glass. That was really cool to see. Frodo here, the cat, he is the MVP. He constantly is just popping up here and there, and he is just a really extraordinary cat because he's very quiet throughout this film. I definitely had to just suspend my disbelief here, because there's one scene where they like dive into the water and the cat is just quiet the whole time. He even had a stunt double, which is really cool as well, and he's just kind of there for the convenience. I feel like a lot of times these characters are following back to each other because of this cat, and he's also in the way a lot as well, which is a very interesting way to really tackle this story, showing a cat and making him kind of the main character, which really dives into the characters themselves. I wasn't really a big fan of these characters. Joseph Quinn, he didn't really do much for me. I know he was a law student, but I didn't really care for his character that much. Lupita Nyong'o, now I liked the little bit of character development they had, about 10 minutes, which is about all we really get from her character. And we learn a little bit more where she has a sentimental moment about her dad and involving pizza as well, which I understand that definitely has heart into the film. But I just really wasn't sold on her character. The fact that she was terminally ill and I felt like she was going to pass anyway, I was never really attached to her character as a whole. But I think some of the actual heart of the story I can definitely agree with, but I just never really got into either character. The MVP here for me was the cat, and when the cat is your best character, that's pretty bad. Djimon Hounsou is in this, and again, I really like him as an actor, but the problem is he always gets these small roles in which they don't really do a whole lot for him. I don't know if that's all he's really being offered, but he definitely deserves a little bit more prominent role, and it was disappointing that he's barely in this film. I think the story for this is very lazy. This is a prequel. We wanted to know actually what actually happened, maybe learn some new things. The creatures here, we know everything there is to know about them already, so there's nothing new that we actually learn. I also think it is definitely a stretch to have new characters in here, because what if we had our main characters from the original stories and showing what actually happened to them, and maybe not actually put it in New York? I mean, it's so generic to actually put this in New York. I feel like all these destruction movies, they're always in New York or LA. There are so many other cities in the US. Actually pick a different city for once. It's just so generic to me. The character development, like I said, with it only being about 10 minutes of character development and then going into the destruction, it's lazy to me. Yeah, we see some explosions and there's some cool action here and there, but why do we care about these characters? If we got it from the perspective of our main characters from the original film, I think it would be a little bit more exciting. I think with these two characters, it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, when this film ends and we go to a part 3 in the original series, I just don't think this really does anything. How do we actually care about these characters moving forward? They have no effect in the story later going down the road. So why did they choose to do new characters here and then give us bare bones in character development, which I just don't agree with whatsoever. I just think overall, when it really comes down to it, this is a movie where, yeah, you have some action. If you're looking to have an actual story and learning more about this whole attack that comes to play, you're not learning anything new. There's nothing new about the creatures. Yeah, it has some heart, but I think the heart is being passed on as making it a good film. And to be honest, it's just a very average film. It's nothing that you haven't seen before. Yeah, if you like action, you're getting it. But again, it's so razor thin within its story. I cannot just give this a pass by how this is actually written because it's poorly written. I couldn't overlook the fact that these characters, and not just the main characters, but side characters and also background characters, they knew right away to be quiet and the creatures would get them, and then the military knew everything that was going on. I think it would have been a better decision if we actually found out how they actually found that information out themselves, because it's just too convenient that they already know that offhand. I think this also would have been better if it was told in the perspective of having a little bit more characters, maybe in a group setting, because having just these two characters throughout this film, following them, and the fact with no character development, even if they had no character development, if they were with a group and we got to see more of the creatures attacking them and learning little bits and pieces about each character, if they had more of them, I think it would have been a lot better film. I think it needed to be stretched to more so a 2-hour runtime because I think it needed more story to it. To me, I just felt like there wasn't a lot of meat on the bones with the story here. It was just, you know what? We're just going to show you the invasion. There's going to be action. We're going to give you these two characters. We'll give you a little bit of heart and you're going to love it. And that I didn't like it. I just thought it was too lazy in that aspect. And overall, I can't say that I recommend this film to really rush out and check out. But at the same time, I understand from an action standpoint, the sound and visuals, it's worth it to check it out in that aspect, but I don't think I would revisit this film again. I definitely will be rocking that first and second film over and over again, but not this one because I just don't care about the characters here. And overall, I just think it's a very weak story and a weak script overall. So as far as the score for this film, I would give it a 2.5 out of 5. Just an okay film, guys. I definitely wanted to love this. I love this franchise, but I just thought overall they just didn't do a good job with this. I thought they could have done a lot more, and I think the runtime definitely should have been stretched a little bit more and had a little bit more development to make it a little bit better film. So what did you guys think about this film? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? If you haven't checked it out yet, are you going to check it out in a theater? Are you going to stream it? Are you going to check it out on digital? Leave any and all comments down below and rank down below your favorite of the franchise and the worst of the franchise. Thank you guys for checking out this review, and I will see you guys next time.